Yeah, this is how I look now. This is my real hat. I'm a cowboy now. I thought I would LARP and be cowboy content. That's the bit I'm running now. That's not really a bit. That's real life. What if I just like came in with like the sickest southern accent? Like, some of you might be wondering, what is the title of this video? What is this about? So for those who don't know, who have been living under a rock, Project M, one of the best mods of all time. I love it. I've made a huge bedrock of content on my channel just talking about Project M. But if you want to know the nitty gritty, one of the big important rules when Project M first started was they didn't want to actually include anything from future Smash games. So that included characters, so they wouldn't include things from Smash 4 and technically even Smash Ultimate as well. I just thought it was really weird how many years have passed since, Project M has technically disbanded, and then obviously there was Project Plus that later came out. I've always wondered, man, why is it that some characters still don't have moves that potentially could fix them if that were actually implemented in later Smash games? And I did a little tier list, and in the tier list I was basically doing a tier list based on how much I liked certain characters and how much I liked playing them. And some of the lower tiered characters were actually shared with other people in my Discord link down below. But we were kind of just talking over the fact that some versions of characters in Project M just don't feel as interesting as future iterations of those characters because they just don't have the stuff that they have in later Smash games. And if you look at my tier list, one of the clear examples is Luigi. And I literally go at length on why I think Luigi would just be so much better if he had all his stuff from Project M, but he wasn't held down by the really laggy grab input that makes him really have to rely on his wave dash in order to use his grab. When in later Smash games he has access to the Poltergeist. Technically, and you'll find this out later on in the video, there is a bit of an answer to this question, as there is a couple exceptions of moves that are actually technically inspired from Smash Ultimate. Some of you are probably like, wait, what? I actually had a big eureka moment. If you guys stay tuned, you'll notice this moment as well, because there is actually one move that is technically inspired from Smash 4, and it's also in Smash Ultimate 2, but it's a Smash 4 move, and it's also in Project Plus. It was added later on because the original Project M build did not have this move. Again, stay tuned, this is gonna get good. This is like a long stream highlight video, but I really cooked on it, honestly. I was really on fire. I was like, man, this is just I just got really passionate about this topic because some of the lower tiered characters on my personal likability tier list are not because I hate them. I know there's other versions of these characters that are just way better, and for example Smash Ultimate, but we can't have everything, right? I know I'm so greedy, right? And one of the workarounds that I do talk about later on is you could add these moves even though it's technically against one of the codes of Project M, which was to stay away from further Smash stuff. But there technically is later Smash stuff in Project M and Project Plus, and again, you'll have to stay tuned and you'll see those things. And also, if this is the first time you guys are coming through watching the video, I don't wear a cowboy hat. I'm not cowboy content. I thought this was funny though. Maybe I'll do this on stream, but I'm not a redneck. I thought this would be funny. Okay, but anyways, just know that there's actually plenty of examples that I'll bring up in the video of moves that are actually could be added to Project Plus. I think would actually make these characters a little bit better, and also you can spin them in their own way so they're not exactly copying future Smash Ultimate stuff. I do also go over that later on in the video as well. It's actually probably the most important part of the overall topic here, is how you kind of do this, and how I definitely see this as a case-by-case type of thing. You shouldn't just copy stuff from Smash Ultimate, but you can spin things in a different way to sort of make it tastefully similar, but you're also spinning it in a completely different direction. Not everyone will probably understand what I'm saying, but again, stay tuned because you'll definitely understand later on. Okay, I cooked, alright? I was really passionate. And again, shout outs to Monte, Smash Rex dev. Man, he's a cool dude. So link down below to his channel, and also there's a Discord down below if you guys want to see my cowboy hat. Oh my god, cowboy Discord content down below. Click it now, all right, or else. Okay, anyways, thank you for watching and subscribe. Okay, so if you don't know, back in the day, strap in for this because this is a big topic. Back in the day, one of the goals for Project M the OG Project M, was not to add ideas from future Smash games, because that could be a legal minefield. So what does that mean? Well, that means no Mega Man, no Little Mac, no Smash 4 characters, no Smash 4 ideas. It would have been really funny if they did add Knuckles and then Knuckles was added to Ultimate or something. But that was the code, was not to add. What's up, Monte? Oh, dude. Monte, I actually want to know your opinion. If you want to jump on a call, let me know. But I'm talking, like, I was talking about character movesets and shit, and I'm cooking right now, like, bro. One of the codes back in the day when they made Project M was not to add future Smash game stuff because it's a legal gray area. But at the same time, modding in general is a fucking legal gray area. Like, no, it doesn't matter how we fucking sprinkle it. Like, changing the color of Mario's hat is illegal to Nintendo. Like, they don't care what color it is. Like, if it's not what it was, if it's not how it shipped, it's fuck you, basically. That's how Nintendo is. So to me, I'm not saying we add characters from Smash 4. I'm not saying we add characters from Ultimate. I'm not saying we do that. But what if, like, for Luigi, we give him his fucking Poltergeist to make his grab game more effective? I know that's really nerdy. No one wouldn't care. Like, most people probably would say no, because that's an Ultimate idea. But it's, like, almost so... Like, I would... if I was making my own Smash game, I would do that any day of the week. Because it makes more sense, and it's also representative of Luigi and Luigi's Mansion. Duh. On one hand, I think it's a good idea, because P+ has very little from other Smash games outside of Melee and Brawl. But on the other hand, Nintendo ninjas. That's what I'm saying. But at the same time, though, like, let's be real, guys. Like, if you change one thing of code in Brawl, the ninjas are gonna get you, right? Like, they don't like you. Like, they don't like you playing Project Plus right now. They don't like... They already don't like you. They go after Ludwig for making Pokemon Stadium frozen. If you want to, yeah, Monty, let me know. I'll throw you on. Because I know me and Monty have talked for hours about this stuff behind the scenes. Like, we will talk about, like, theory and stuff. This, like, I did the tier list, and I was like, bro, I think Luigi's kind of low for me. Like, I'm not saying I hate Luigi, but I wish, like I kind of like HDR Luigi more, because he has fucking permission to use his fucking grab from Ultimate. And I like some of the characters at the bottom are kind of Pikachu, which again is a similar thing where I feel like I like his ultimate, more aggressive ultimate playstyle, but it's like, do you add that stuff though? Do you make Pikachu pseudo similar to Ultimate? Not too much. I'm not saying you like to add Pikachu's down air and make it spike. I don't know. Your game is set? Okay, I can put you on, Monty. Monty, for those who don't know, Monty's been on the stream a lot. He's a dev behind Rex. This is a legal gray area, obviously, but like we also have to be kind of, we have to, like, duh, right? Like, what are we doing? This is like, we're changing code at the end of the day. I'm saying my argument is we sprinkle a couple things, maybe from Ultimate, to just make the characters more effective. I'm not saying you take that exact asset from Ultimate. I'm not saying... That's also what I should say. I'm not saying you steal Ganondorf's sword from Ultimate and put that in Brawl, even though people have. But I'm talking for Project Plus and Project M, because they always made that as a rule not to take anything from future games. But you maybe take the idea, is what I'm saying. They did that with Mewtwo and Roy in a way. Like, they took the Melee ideas and then they brought them forward to Brawl and reinterpreted them. What if we took Ganondorf's sword and reinterpreted it to the Melee version? So he has, like, the Twilight Princess sword, but he's doing maybe not the same animation, but like a spiritual successor to that animation. Does that make sense? God damn, I'm cooking right now. Holy fuck. I thought about this and I was like, nah, no one would want to talk about that. Maybe Pikachu's down air does spike, but it's not, it just spikes. It's not the Ultimate animation. Maybe it is the Melee animation, but it spikes. In fucking Ultimate, he's a little bit more aggressive, you know what I mean? I'm like looking at some of the characters that I have lower on my likability tier list. What's up, Kirby? Or what's up, Trami? Kirby's good. I like P+ Kirby. Kirby is an interesting character because obviously, like, there's not really too many versions where he's viable except 64. And obviously you don't want to make him broken. Oh, okay, let's do it. Yes. There we go. Okay,
I think we're good.
Woo! Alright, what's up, Monty? Alright, we got the man, the myth, the legend here. Monty is a dev behind Rex. So for those just coming through...
One of the many talents.
Yes. I might change this to the name of the fucking stream, honestly, because I think this is gonna be like a big topic. But yeah. So should they include Ultimate stuff in Project Plus or PM?
Oh,
Not the exact
okay,
animations, but like the spirit of it. Kind of like what they did with some of the, like Toon Link has Link's Upbeat from 64.
Yeah.
You know, like the idea, not the animation, not the exact asset, but the idea. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, so I have my mental essay regarding this, just because I've been in the scene for a while now. I've had the chance to see like all these different points of views from both my fellow devs on other PM, P Plus style projects, the community at large, and you get so many different ideas and different stances regarding it at the end of the day. It's funny to think though that, because they made that stance, because I remember hearing like even my own fellow devs talking about it around the time when I first joined Remix back in the day, getting like more of the inside perspective of everything, and how that was brought up, how they would never, like, anything new would never get added into original PM at the time.
Yes.
And I'm sure by extension P Plus now, because they're trying to honor that for the most part from everything that we've seen.
Right.
It's just funny how coincidentally some of the things that they experimented with themselves back then wound up becoming official over time,
Yes.
because Smash Bros decided to do the same thing.
Yes.
Either because people think that they might have seen PM
Yes.
and thought, oh, that's a good idea, or, you know, the hive mind overlap, that sort of thing, like Samus being able to charge neutral B in the air.
Ness's magnet.
With the hitbox.
Yes.
So, I mean, but those are like examples of like a happenstance where it's like PM didn't add those because they saw Ultimate do it. They did it first.
Yes.
And then by happenstance, there was that overlap at that point. And I think when those things started happening, that's when the community got more vocal about how maybe some of these newer game features should be worked in, because obviously they were already cooking with some good ideas back then.
Mm-hmm.
And the official teams wound up using those same exact ideas, so what they're doing might be on the same wavelength. So maybe some things that they're doing officially, maybe that should get brought back in. Like maybe
Yes.
a character like Samus should have like more kill options on aerial moves and stuff like that. But it's fascinating because when I look at this whole like situation regarding it, it's like when it comes to Project M and now by extension P Plus for the most part, the goal was to try to carefully craft these characters around one another as carefully as possible so that everyone still feels viable no matter what matchup you're facing at the end of the day. And they're still trying to work toward that, you know, trying to make this very tight roster that is probably never ever going to add anything new to it. At least the base P+, the one that everyone's playing competitively still to this day. Probably never going to add anything new to it in terms of like a new character to shake the balance. They're going to just keep refining these characters so that everyone has an in against one another.
Right.
And that works when you got a roster that's like a couple dozen characters. But now it's like, because they are expected to like maintain both that roster chemistry as well as preserving the spirit of Melee, which, you know, that's why there even is a PM.
Yes, that's why. That's the main idea, was PM and Melee. Like, even though there is 64 ideas, it was mainly just like, let's put these two games together and then see where it goes. That was the main idea. But some of these characters, I feel like they do benefit from their later Smash game ideas. Like Luigi is a clear example, in my opinion.
But it's like now they almost can't, because
it's like they're locked out of it.
Yeah, will not allow it because it either starts to deviate too much from the spirit of Melee, or at that point it shakes up the balance so much in a way where it's like, we just don't even want to risk it. We don't want to risk a character who is currently in a very comfortable spot where they're at in the meta, possibly either going up or down because of any gradual changes, because you've already seen it.
Yeah.
Look what happened during some of the more like infamous jumps between PM versions when things got a little too overtuned, and then there was outcry because of it, both good and bad.
Yep.
And then I was watching an Awesome Sauce video recently where he was talking about it was the one where he was talking about like the different games that have tried to be like Melee Yeah, that one. That
happened
one.
with PM too. That happened with Project M. Icons Combat Arena, like a lot of PM stuff in there. Nickelodeon All Stars, very PM pilled like game. There's a lot of characters like in Zetaburn I mentioned earlier is basically PM Wolf. Orcane has a lot of PM Ivysaur stuff. I mean, this is like these movesets. Some of them were changed so significantly. It's almost like it's a completely different character, but other people agree, no, that's a really fucking good version of the character. Like other mods follow suit, and I mentioned that earlier with like Lucas, again Wolf, Lucario, like some of these more out there ones, other mods will even be like, no, I love that version of the character. But some of them, I'm not gonna lie, they kind of feel locked into like what they were spiritually. And I bring up Samus as a perfect example of this. Luigi. Maybe even Pikachu. Like someone spliced it a similar tier list to what I just did, where it was like based on the likability. Like how much, like, do I like this character? I like a lot of the cosmetics for these characters. Even Pig Ganon is fucking iconic. But I don't say, oh, I want to play P plus Ganon. Now I know some people do, but like to me, it's not like that's Ganon. You know, it's like halfway, and that's a hot take, but it's almost there. Like the float is cool. I like the float. That was again a P plus PM idea.
Yeah.
But like it's like some of the mods I feel like nowadays, like HDR has like more of a playground because they have the Sword Ganon attacks. They have Luigi's Poltergeist. They have even D2D side B. They can't do that, right? I mean, I guess maybe who cares about that fucking shitty move, but like these things that kind of feel locked. So my theory, this is what I'm ultimately like was theory crafting. You know, if we look at P+, like the old P+ characters that needed juice were kind of Bowser with the fireball. Perfect example, that was like a PM idea, and they kind of redid that, and it became a really iconic part of him in P+. Kirby, his slide, very, very good element to the character. But then there's like Luigi, maybe Pikachu. I know some people like Pikachu, but he's not like, I wouldn't say he's used as much as some of the other characters. And D2D, where like they're kind of locked to these like very specific versions of the character. I think Luigi is probably the most. Luigi and like Samus are probably the biggest kind of examples to that, because you can't make Rush Down Samus in Ultimate, even though people would like maybe like that. Like now, I don't know, people would maybe experiment with that because Samus is not really used that much in P+. Maybe you do go a crazy direction with her out like that, I don't know. But Luigi, I really wish he had the Poltergeist. And like I'm like, maybe this is what I would want. You don't take the exact asset. You don't take the sword that is in Ultimate. You don't take that weapon. You don't even take the animations, but you take what's already in PM. I mean, he technically uses his sword. There's some mods where they do give him his sword as like his smash attacks, like Rex Sword Ganon. But like, could you take that sword and make different, completely unique animations and make him hit those forward smashes in a similar way but different? Or his up smash and the down smash? Do you give Pikachu a meteor on his down air? I think that would make his offstage game even more deadly, and maybe it would spice him up. I know that's maybe a hot take, but I'm like, I don't see Pikachu a lot, you know? And I'm thinking like, why? Even though Pikachu does have some interesting stuff and is a viable character, but I'm like, I'm kind of like theory crafting ways you could like take them in a little bit different directions without making them broken. I don't want to make any of these characters broken, right?
Yeah. I see in chat, Dr. R made a remark about more people would play Samus if they changed her moveset. And this is where I step in as a Samus main. I know a lot of people don't like Samus because she does not play in a style that is heavily associated with basically the identity behind Melee and Project M. I remember for years so many people saying that Samus in those games, especially Melee, is basically playing her own game because of how different her functionality is compared to pretty much the whole rest of the roster.
Yes.
Because she is a zoner, and because she is reliant on her projectile spam and her traps with down B and stuff like that, trying to set up for like a get off me or you know, elements like that. Like, she's playing her own game. And because of that, a person like me who's been playing Samus for years, I have that mentality now. and you know it firsthand because we fought. We've had our matches in the past where it's my Samus versus your Ness.
Yep.
What am I trying to do? I'm trying to snipe you with a charge shot. I'm trying to line up missiles to whip your recovery, stuff like that. I'm playing as a zoner. I'm shooting to kill, basically.
Yes.
But I know there's a lot of people that would, like Dr. R saying, if they changed the moveset, if they did make a more brawler style Samus, it's then it's more appealing to people that have that more particular playstyle in mind. But then for someone like me who's already been used to Samus being this way for so long, and then all of a sudden it's different, it's like, this is not my character anymore.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, funnily enough, even though it was so minor back in the day, because you got to hear this firsthand when you interviewed a former PM dev years ago.
Yes.
Where he made the remark how there was a point they were, because of the subtle changes that Ganon was getting with having his float and reflector and stuff. Those little subtle changes were enough to make them go, we're changing Ganon a lot here. We should maybe bring in a new character to adopt the old melee Ganon moveset.
Black Shadow.
Changes are already... Yep.
They thought about Black Shadow, yeah. He was in the test bed. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were doing that because they realized even with those little changes given to Ganon, it was changing his entire play style, his entire kit was being altered on a, basically a digital cellular level. And because of that, they're like, ooh, this might be too radical of a change for people. We need to have a character that plays more like what they're used to because of how much we're changing what Ganon is about.
Yes.
So, and those are what people would consider minuscule changes.
Yes. Well, no, you brought up the perfect example there, and this is why I think we're cooking with this conversation, because I don't know how you guys feel in chat. Like, what do you guys feel about Ganon? Like, do you like... Let's take a step back for a second. Like, so many of my Sonic videos have done well, because so many people do not like Sonic in Smash, and they just wish it was better. They might not like him competitively in Ultimate, right, where he's like top 2. But then they're like, I wish this was not that move. Because Sonic is also very iconic. He's like the most popular character probably in the game if we think about it. Like, it is kind of crazy how popular he is. And his moveset is mainly like, again, it's the brawl version of Sonic where he's balling up and shit. And it was very last minute. He was like I said the same thing with Wolf. Very last minute character. And you can see that in Wolf. And it's crazy how different he is from fucking Brawl to fucking Ultimate. Like, even that's like different, and P Plus, like, they took their own direction with Wolf as well. But some of these last minute characters are still kind of seen as like, I don't know, like it could have been better. And Ganondorf is an example of that because he was the last minute addition of Melee. He was literally not going to be included unless his model fit on Captain Falcon, and
it did.
Yeah, and it did. And they're like, all right, that's his character. And that's been him since...
And it wasn't even an actual custom model either. It wasn't a Smash model.
They copied and pasted it. Yeah. They modded it in. If you think about it, like they're like, oh, he fits on that? All right. Yeah, that's his moveset. And people love that version of Ganon. And that's the thing, like, I know people are always gonna love versions of characters, but even P Plus has not always been like they've never been like, oh, we'll do that version of Lucas, because they didn't do Brawl Lucas. They did their own version of Lucas. They didn't do Brawl Lucario. They did their own version of Lucario, and at first people had to adjust, or a lot of people didn't like them or whatever. But it depends. Like, I guess some people are like, oh, that character's had that moveset since Melee, you can't change it now. Or maybe they're like, oh, no. But, like, Ganon is one of those characters where it's, like, right behind Sonic, in my opinion, where it's like, what in the fuck did, like, he's been bad since fucking, I mean, Melee, he was, like, kind of good, but it was because he hit, like, a truck. And he was, like, his knockback was insane. And they didn't like that. Because in the next update of Melee, they're like, stop that. He can't kill you at that percent. Don't nerf his down air. Like, they nerfed him. They're like, don't make him too strong. And then they proceeded to, like, make him dog shit. Like, he became dog shit for Brawl, Smash 4. And I was coping so hard. I thought when they gave him the ultimate stuff, I was like, finally, he's gonna be good. He's still kind of shit. And I'm at a certain point, I'm like, how do you fix him? But at the same time, there's so many ways, like, mods have taken him, because he's, like, literally, if he was added in Brawl, he would have been a completely different character if you think about it. Like, take a step back, guys. If he does not make Melee, he would not have been a clone in Brawl. He would have been
exactly.
They would have given him something different completely.
Yeah, because he actually was able to make the cut because of that last-minute decision, and because they rigged him to a Falcon skeleton, reused most of the animations, save for a few changes with idols and taunts, blah blah blah. The fact they were able to reuse so much is what locked Ganon into that archetype moving forward, because you already set him up to be that type of character. You can now no longer go any radically different direction because he became locked in as that archetype with that decision, instead of the big what if, like if he hadn't made Melee and debuted in Brawl, probably would have had a very different moveset as a primarily historically more like warlock type character with some broad sword gameplay. He'd probably be doing a mix of magic and sword swipes. He'd be kind of like he'd be like a heavy Robin in a lot of ways, I'm sure.
I'll say this, if he was added in Brawl, he would have his ultimate smash attacks. Because it seems like if they finally did that, like it took Ultimate to do that, like they must have thought in the back of their head that was like an idea for Dorf, was to give him a sword eventually. And it became a meme to give Ganon a sword, because in every game you fight him, he has a fucking sword or a trident or something. And so many people are like, do this, do that, do this, do that. It's like so many different directions.
Mm-hmm. And it's tough because it's like an official game has to kind of abide by what people expect at that point. I actually still remember how people were going off back in the day when when Mario did get Flood and replaced Down B, and other little changes here and there to character movesets. Everyone was still like, whoa, what happened here? Like,
yes,
where'd the old move go? I remember being one of the ones that was bummed that I didn't have the Tornado Down B anymore and got stuck with Flood. Even though in certain situations,
they removed Flood in P+. In P+, Mario does not have Flood.
Yeah. And in a game like Melee PMP+, Flood would be, I think so.
I'm surprised he's had Flood in Ultimate. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought it was Mario Galaxy or Mario Odyssey time, you know? Like, I'm not saying it's not iconic, but...
I guess they figured with the way Ultimate was designed, because even though Ultimate is tighter and less floaty than Brawl and Smash 4 was, it's still a little floaty, and it's still fairly easy to make it back to stage.
Yes.
Even when you're getting pushed by floodwater, you can still get back fairly easily, for the most part, normally.
Right.
Like, recovery is still not that death sentence that a lot of people label Melee recovery or PM recovery as, where it's like you're off the stage, you feel yourself sweating because you're like, oh, I'm probably not making it back.
Yes. So, for chat, what do you guys think Dorf should go? Like, do you think, like, in P+, I would say, like, they added float, and that was, like, at the time, that was, like, a big thing for Dorf. I'm not saying, like, you change every single thing and make him, like, you could keep some similar things, like, his forward air, like, fits his character, his down tilt, like, I guess, fits, or whatever, but you could change really anything if you think about it. But at a certain point, though, a lot of people do, like, you know, if you change too much, it ends up not feeling like the character at all. I'm not necessarily saying that. I still think Ganondorf should be like the hard-hitting, like you said, a warlock character, but I'm just thinking, like, does it make sense to add the ultimate inspired attacks, if that makes sense?
It's a tough thing in the sense of, like, even if there is practicality, like, it would actually benefit the character. It's now the direction the official games are going, so there's that double incentive of not to go that route for the devs, because for one, they're still trying very hard to honor that Melee legacy, and it's that vow of, like, don't take the new stuff and apply it to what we have going on here.
Yeah.
Partially for the sake of the fans, for the sake of the meta, for the sake of the project itself.
Right.
So, and this is where I get to have a little fun. As a Rex dev, I can say something along these lines, because this is my stance on it. Because P+ has dedicated itself to honoring that legacy of what Melee is about and how Melee feels in the Brawl engine when it's properly translated. Because a lot of people look at PM, and by extension P+, as basically the Melee 2 that we never got.
It is.
So, but that being said, though, that roster is carefully curated around all those movesets to make sure everything fits like a glove.
Right.
There's a matchups, viability, so on and so forth. So you do anything to change up the formula, and all of a sudden you got, like, a new recipe going on there. Especially taking into account that roster being so, like, symbiotic with itself.
Yes.
That being said, though, bringing it back around to Rex here, where it's like, we're not following those same rules on a technicality because we're not locked into a specific roster where it's got to be these characters only and there's never going to be anything more or less. We're continually adding more. We have a roster that's starting to like overshadow Ultimate in terms of just how much is going on there.
100%.
So, and because of that, there's so much new in the formula that the entire meta that PM, P Plus established is already being shaken up by the fact that there's all these new characters, new movesets, new matchups. Like, yeah, it's like, because it's like, look at like Jigglypuff, for example, and like the, you know, from Melee to PM. Jigglypuff is virtually 1-to-1 with how she was in Melee. But because she is still so much what she was in Melee now in this engine with a larger roster, she is so far down the totem pole now because you got other characters that do a lot of her stuff but better, like Wario, for example. So because of that, even though Jigglypuff is still doing everything she's already been doing, she's now in a roster that kind of, I wouldn't say invalidates her, but puts her
on the
in
same
a rough
level.
Spot.
Yeah, they're all on the same level as her.
And now, when you look at the Rex roster with all the characters we have, you see that sort of happen with some of the characters that we have in the build. You see them and go, well, these characters were good where they were here before, but now that they're dealing with like a Pyra or a Mithra now being in the roster, or a character like, or a character like Little Mac or something like that, everything changes. Like, and because of that, if we wanted to actually change or add anything from newer games, because we're not tied to those same rules, either honor bound or otherwise. Like, if we want to change something, we can. We know, obviously, if we did do something like that, it would shake up the scene, because a lot of people that play PM, P+, like to come over to Rex and know that their tried and trues are going to feel virtually how they always do when they play, you know, PM or P+ or whatever. They go to Rex and know, hey, if worse comes to worse and I need to fall back on like one of my mains from that, they're going to feel like how I expect them to. You start changing that, though, and then people feel less comfortable to come over to play because all of a sudden the character that they know and love is not doing what they're used to them doing anymore.
Well, I know some people don't like how some of the characters are changed in P+. Like look at Snake, he is not Brawl Snake. And I brought that up earlier. He's Metal Gear Snake, basically. You know, Lucas, completely different. Lucario, etc. Some of these characters people have adapted. And don't get me wrong, when I first played PM, I actually was sort of like playing Lucas in Brawl, at least like casually. And I felt more comfortable with Ness because he represented some of the stuff that that Lucas had in Brawl. Like, he had his PK Flash actually moved in a direction, which again is another thing that Smash Ultimate later did. So this is part of my argument, is like, man, dude, like, can we just like sprinkle? I'm not saying we add characters from Smash 4 and Ultimate, absolutely not. The reason why they added Knuckles was because there's a Knuckles trophy. You know, that's the reason why they were thinking about Lyn, is because Lyn is an assist trophy.
Or Black Shadow at the time.
Yes. And some of the things, like if they had a sticker or maybe a small representation, maybe they thought about them or whatever, but like that would be like Sammy or whatever. But if you think about it, some of these characters spiritually, if we were to continue, like what are some of the flaws of Luigi? It's his shit grab. I mean, granted, he has a good wave dash and everything, and like that's good, but like many Luigi mains, like, granted, there's freaks out there like Rat Monster and Melee. He's showing that Luigi, I'm not saying these characters can't cook, but how do you get him to be a little bit more likable? He has this in Melee. What if we added that version of the Poltergeist, not the later versions, but like this version of it, and made it his grab, you know? Yeah, it's Ultimate inspired, but you're making it yourself. What if someone made that themselves? Like, literally made Luigi look like this, like to honor this. Like, he makes like a weird goofy face like this, and that's his grab, you know? Like, it buffs his grab, because I think that's one of the weak points of Luigi in PM currently, is his grab game. While, you know, it can be effective once he uses wave dash, but like, if you look at HDR Luigi, he is like fundamentally moving differently because he has access to that thing.
True. Actually, that is a good point to bring up too, because now that I'm thinking about it, the Ultimate vacuum that he's got, that Poltergeist, is actually different.
I know.
Because those
they're different games.
Ones, didn't have the plunger. He didn't have plunger functionality yet.
Oh.
So you couldn't actually recreate it.
This thing, yeah. We're cooking with this topic right now. I hope you guys know that.
If he was to have the vacuum as a grab, it wouldn't be able to plunger because there was no plunger. So the only way you could have a vacuum grab that was historically accurate, you'd have to do something very different. The vacuum would almost be like almost like a Mage Ganon grab, or in this case our Phantom Ganon over that moveset, where there's a wind box that kind of pulls you into where you're actually supposed to be for the grab to actually get a hold of you.
And
so
look, this
something similar.
This is not something like if we think about it, like there's okay, this is a melee trophy. As far as I could see, I don't think there's a trophy for this in Brawl. As far as I'm trying to look, maybe there's a sticker. Oh, there's Luigi. Okay, well, there's Luigi. There's a sticker. There was a sticker for Sammy, and that was enough for to get her to be a testbed character in Project Ad. Okay, some of these stickers do actually matter. But if we're using that logic, he had this trophy in Melee. There's a lot of Melee stuff, if we think about it, Mewtwo and Roy were Melee things, and they brought them to Brawl. There's a lot of Melee stuff that spiritually gets brought into PM, And I understand that, okay, well, this is, not, it's an ultimate idea, but there's technically, ultimate ideas technically in P+ that were, I guess, PM technically did first, but it's, weird to, I don't know. I think it's just create your own version of it is my hot take. So with Ganondorf, let's go to Ganondorf, just period. Here he is. I'm sure you could add this sword and make it. I'm sure it's a mod right now where you just take this version of Ganon, this sword on his melee render. You use that, I guess for Brawl it would be the Twilight Princess sword, but you could use that sword. He already actually has a sword, a part of his moveset, and for his down taunt. What if you took that sword model? Yeah, this thing. You took that sword model and then made it a part of his smash attacks. Okay, spiritually maybe they're sort of similar, but not. It's a completely different animation made from the ground up, is what I would say. I love the fact that Pikachu has a more aggressive moveset in later Smash games, and I think other people like that too. Granted, he's a top tier in 64, but again, the metas are completely different in 64. But I don't know, maybe again, maybe his Thunder Jolt maybe acts a somewhat similar way, maybe it's a little bit closer to him, or maybe I really wanted Downer that spikes. I thought that would be so that when I saw that for the first time, I was like, God, he's gonna be a top tier, and he obviously was. But I'm just thinking some of the ideas that people even Splice had low on his tier list. He was I don't really feel like playing Pikachu and PM that much. Not saying there isn't playing Pikachu mains, but I'm thinking of how do you spice it up for them? I don't know how you spice it up for Dedede, because I don't know. I feel like Dedede is his own being, but I think those are some valid ideas. What do you guys think? I'll leave it open to you guys now. I'm not saying I don't like Olimar. I actually play Olimar as a secondary, but he's kind of again a little bit more of an out there kind of moveset changes and stuff, but not in a bad way. What do you guys think though?
I'll let Chad also say its bit too. So I'll say, while they're doing their thing, hopefully typing up what they think.
Yeah, go ahead,
It
Monte.
would be cool to see, but I do know that certain changes would definitely affect matchups as well as viability. Because I was thinking about with Ganon, the biggest advantage that having the sword moves that he has an ultimate on his up and forward smashes is both the frame data and the coverage is vastly superior to what he had in the earlier days when it was still him, kicking and thrusting his shoulder into you or his elbow into you. The up smash gives you that that full 180 coverage from left to right when he swings, and the forward smash has that upward arc as he slams the blade down. Both are just way more beneficial hitboxes than what he's got going on in and specifically in any of the older games. Because Ultimate is when he started using sword. He was still doing all the kicking and thrusting and all that stuff all the way up into Smash 4 with his bona fide worst visual appearance yet. The meme, the legend itself.
Penguin just joined. They said, based off the title, it depends on what it is. So for me, it's what I kind of said is, what if we added Ultimate ideas that are not copy and pasted from Ultimate, but somebody rebuilds them in a different way and makes them their own PN interpretation of a similar concept. So Ganondorf using his swords, yes, for his smash attacks. Maybe Pikachu has like a down air that spikes, but it's a different animation. Maybe like, you know, Luigi's technically meteors too. Like, you could go that direction. And I'm not saying you change them to, like, I'm not saying you take away Luigi's wave dashing and make him like complete. Like, I know there's some aspects of the character that are like very integral to their identity. But like, I'm just thinking of ways, because some of these characters are not really played that much. You know, that's kind of like where my brain like goes to, is like, I don't see Luigi a lot. I'm not saying, you know, you can't do well with any of these characters in tournament. It's not really like that. It's just like, how do you spice them up in a similar way that Bowser and Kirby were spiced up in P+. In a similar way, you know, even like adding Mewtwo and Roy from the ground up, like they spiced them up in some areas. They changed Roy's back air completely. That was a PM thing. I think that's also a good note as well, as like some of these, like they're melee ideas, but they also went their own direction here and there too. And I think some of these characters could also need some of that. Luigi more specifically, where I said, hey, maybe you give him the ultimate inspired grab, but it's like the melee. It's the oldest version of the poltergeist, and it doesn't have the plunger. It sucks you in, like Monte said. Or Ganondorf's sword attacks, but they're not the same animation. You know, that's Samus maybe has a more aggressive moveset, but it's not as like slow and sluggish. But I'm not saying you change everything completely about her and make her ultimate Samus, but like maybe a couple, you know, like the dash attack being really strong or something, or forward air having a strong hit on the third hit of it. You know, that's ultimate inspired, but you're not, it's just like data at the end of the day. Like, I don't know, it's just like, would Nintendo really care that much at the end of the day? Because this is a mod, you know, they don't like anything that's a mod, so would they care that much about this? That's essentially where I was going with this. I know Spider Dude, Spice said give Wario a gun.
He's cooking. He's like, I gotta give him a gun because there's no Shadow to give a gun to.
Yes.
Come on, BM. B+, put Shadow in and give him a gun.
Maybe the links, Toon Link is different from Link, but it would be nice to see more. What do you mean by Link? Like, tell me more specifically. Add tripping to P+ and Rage. Oh god. Give Mario Flood. So that's a little bit more. I know there's people that have wanted to take Mario's down B in like a different direction, and I don't know. They did choose Mario Tornado because it's supposed to be like melee Mario, but at the same time, you technically could have Galaxy inspired stuff. I know technically it did resemble Galaxy at one point. I don't know if you guys remember that. Didn't it have stars in previous updates? I'm pretty sure Mario Tornado might have had stars in like earlier updates, because they wanted to like kind of reference that, but it was still Mario Tornado at the end of the day. I don't like Flood. Yeah, I'm not a Flood fan. Give Luigi Smash 4 Cyclone. Oh god, fuck that. His Cyclone's already pretty good, I'm not gonna lie.
Mario having that, like the PM setting would be definitely detrimental, just because most characters are already struggling to get back to stage. And then you got water blasting away with their less floaty than Brawl nature. Oh, it'd be a nightmare.
Tornado is part of his recovery too. So I don't know. I'm not like, I don't love Tornado, but I know some Mario like it's like it's debatable. It's like, what if you? I could see someone wanting to be like, make it the like Galaxy inspired, because that's very much what other mods do, but it's like, again, it depends on your interpretation. Sheik should get Bouncing Fish and the grenade. Yes.
Is that a Smosh reference? Are you making a Smosh reference right now?
Did you hear what they said? They said Sheik, Bouncing Fish, and grenade. That would radically if it's Smash 4. Like, you would have to completely remake that animation, I guess. I don't know if the grenade, like, I don't know, because side B is the chain is kind of bad. I don't know. Turn Olimar into Louie. Okay. There's a mod that gives Sheik her Bouncing Fish. Yeah, you would have to make a completely different animation, I feel like, but if it's the similar move, you know, I don't know. I know people love you know, melee Sheik, and that's like what she's supposed to be. And Sheik is already really good in the meta.
And how it fits into the kit too. Because I know, even though there's a lot of people, obviously to this day, they don't touch Zelda unless they have to. But that's also part of Sheik's kit. Is basically using Zelda when they have to, because Zelda has the superior recovery. They usually tend to down B when they're off stage as Sheik to have an easier time getting back to stage using Zelda, and then switching back to Sheik when they recover.
Yes.
So
that's how they did it.
That's the thing to take into account. And that also kind of brings back one topic I didn't quite finish my thoughts on before, with like the redundancy factor. When PM was in development, they didn't want Lucas or Lucario to feel so similar to who they were already essentially based on. So they found clever ways to rework their movesets so that you wouldn't feel redundancy playing Ness compared to Lucas or Lucario next to Mewtwo. Going those radical different directions with them is what allowed them to both exist on the roster and not feel too samey, which is also why we didn't get a Dr. Mario in PM, because they took those good elements that Doc had and combined it with Mario in that setting.
Yep.
Which is why you're able to not only spike with the forward air that Mario's, or Meteor Mash. Yeah, I can't.
It does both. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you get the best of both worlds, because there was such a minimal amount of difference anyways. They were like, let's just merge the best that both Melee, Mario, and Doc had into one character. Boom, there you go.
Mm-hmm. So I brought this up in the Discord. There was a lot of people saying no, and that's totally fine. Like if that's I think it depends situation by situation. It shouldn't be the straight up animation. It should not be, I'm not asking to copy and paste any characters or anything like that. Duh. But if you made your own interpretation and it was like very much original, I feel like maybe you could get that by. It's more of an idea situational thing, I guess. Spider Dude saying yes, no. Should they piss on our hot dogs? Yes. Which ideas from Ultimate? That's what I mean. Like it's situational. Oh yeah, some people brought up like shortcuts, no stick jump, aerial shortcuts. They technically did add like. Didn't they add like what later Smash games have, where you can like turn off? Oh no. That exists in Brawl. Never mind. The controller modifications, Brawl started that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Said,
yeah, if there's something you want to say, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking how, at the same time, even if they didn't want to go in the direction of Ultimate, there's still nothing stopping them from trying to evolve a character anyways, because we already talked about him earlier, Bowser.
Yeah.
He is very different from his Melee incarnation, no longer having Fire Breath, having the Fireball instead, and having essentially a souped up command grab compared to the way more simplistic one in Melee where he just bit you over and over again.
Right.
A move that you never, ever, ever get seen use in Melee, but you will see people use the command grab in PM, P+, because of its versatility, being able to angle which direction you want the throw to happen, stuff like that.
Oh, yes. Good point, yeah. Someone else also brought up a good point. Spire Dude brought up, there is a lot of PM moves that are in Smash 4. Like the arrow, Pit's guiding arrow is basically PM inspired. That, like how he moves his arrow, that's one of his custom moves. Trampoline launch, the launches any foe next to you in the air. So this move having a hitbox, like PM did that as well. High speed drill, very much, yeah, good points there. These were also PM ideas that kind of became custom moves. Imagine P plus Sonic play this up, homing attack. Oh, the really annoying campy Sonic stuff. Hammer, spin, yeah, I don't want to see that ever in anything, please. And double spring, yeah. No. Keep you guys hate Ultimate Sonic, right? You don't want these. You want to stay far away from these. You want to protect. Yeah, this is exactly this is what I think when I get reminded of these, especially this one. For those who don't know, these were the most broken custom moves. If you hate Sonic in Ultimate, he's like souped up. Chopper Kong, oh my god. Yeah, bring back the upbeat. Now, I'm not saying again, I want to preface this again. I'm not saying you take the actual animations. I'm not saying I'm saying you rebuild them. P plus Sheik with Bouncing Fish would make her 50 times cooler. I actually agree, but maybe you make Bouncing Fish kind of weak. You don't the Sheik is already really good. You know, you got to keep that in account. But her side B was really weird and awkward. And Sakurai agreed because he eventually changed it too in Smash 4. I know, again, it's like supposed to represent melee and stuff, but I think naturally, if we existed in the perfect world, that would be Sheik, is with Bouncy Fish and the grenade. Give Wario his bike, that's a hot take. Imagine if she could land a bouncing fish. The chain is so funny. It is funny if you think about it. It's really just like... It's really just... It's like the most random move. They're like, yeah, why not? And Sheik's moveset is like made from the ground up, so... Again, I think it was just part of like Melee's crunch. They were just like, yeah, why not? Give that to Sheik and she's good now. So.
That's another thing to take into account too. It's like if you wanted a move like that for Sheik, obviously at that point, you can't have transforming Zelda Sheik anymore.
Nope.
Because now you got a new move. What does that mean for Zelda at that point? And their viability that they are essentially symbiotically linked to is no longer a thing because you're now changing up their entire functionality, not being able to transform anymore. The same way that we had to take that into account with Pyramithra being in the game because we couldn't get them to transform. So how do you make them more viable when they no longer have the ability to switch between the heavy hitter and the easier combo chainer / recoverer, basically?
Yes.
So a lot of things shape the balance entirely. So that kind of brings it back around one more time. Even if P Plus never decides to go too experimental with what it decides to do in the future, there's nothing stopping other mods, like Rex, for example, if we really wanted to experiment in those areas. Because there's nothing in our code of honor or our guidelines where it's like, oh, you can only put stuff in before this cutoff date. Like if we wanted to give Luigi his actual poltergeist grab with the plunger, we could do that if we wanted to.
Yeah.
And we might. I don't know if we're gonna, but we might.
That would be crazy. Yeah, I remember you were talking to me about that behind the scenes about how would I feel if you know, like these characters had different, like more out there versions, like they're more original and more, it was more Rex instead of P plus, and I thought that was interesting. Who knows? Honestly, I love P plus, but like, I think P plus, they most of the time make the correct move, and like, there's maybe like a one time I think where people complained, and that was like, I feel like when Charizard's neutral B got changed, but over time I think people adapt to some of those things. Maybe not to this day, maybe not for everybody, but I think like, while I'm asking for Ganondorf to be changed more significantly, I guess, but like, as long as the spirit of the character is represented in some way, I think you could get somewhere. That's my 2 cents. Maybe they're already good enough and people don't really care. That's probably part of it too, I guess, but that's
I guess for every Bowser Fireball, there's a Charizard Thunder Punch, you know, where it's like some things work for people, some things don't. It's case by case.
It is
the other reason that we feel like we have more of that wiggle room to make changes to the base roster if we wanted to in Rex is because it's not just about the base roster anymore. It's also about this massive EX roster of characters with their own unique gimmicks and functionalities and, you know, advantages, disadvantages. So with a meta being that fast and the matchups being all over the board just because there's so many characters you can barely keep track of them half the time, I think it's more fair game to experiment with some of that stuff because the matchup system is already completely all over the place because you already have all these new variables shaking up the status quo. So that Luigi actually being able to grab at better ranges would probably benefit his kit to deal with all the crazy new stuff that people have to deal with.
100%, man. Yes. It gets you thinking. I think case by case, for those who want to answer to the title, it's case by case. And I brought up some of my cases for me personally. Because I was doing a tier list and I was like, man, what could you do with these characters? So, Spider Dude said, I've never talked this deeply about like PM, but like if you think about it, there's a lot of genius going on like in there. Like it's just like it started from wanting to literally add Melee Falco to Brawl, and then it just became its own being, where that same being has inspired, again, Icons, Combat Arena existed, you know, you could maybe say Multiverses at one point might have been kind of inspired by it. You could definitely say Nickelodeon All-Stars 100% was inspired. The other game, I forgot, Slap City, very PM inspired. Yes, like you said, there's a lot of things that were inspired by a fucking mod. So,
yeah,
I mean, this is already like a real, like, in my opinion, it's one of the best mods of all time. That might be a hot take and a bias, but
in a lot of ways, though, it still is, just because it did its own thing and it did it really well. It gave people that Melee 2 they always wanted to have, essentially, and then some.
Yes.
And still allowed you to enjoy everything that you did like about Brawl. It made Brawl fun for the people that weren't getting the fun out of it the way they were anticipating, because of how radically different the overall like play style was from Melee to Brawl. So people got their wish, they got to still play the game, they got to do subspace and all the stuff that was there, just, you know, with the more favorable engine, favorable gameplay.
Yeah.
And it's still around. You can play older builds of PM before P Plus existed. You can play older versions of P Plus, current P Plus. So it's like there's already so much out there, and that's also why for me, with the project that I am a part of, being a part of Rex and having like PM still as the basic foundation, the building blocks that shape where we, you know, refine these characters and try to lock them into that sweet spot. There's still room to allow for like more, because at the end of the day, there's so many builds out there to play. Why keep playing the same thing over and over again when there's so many different things to enjoy and experience?
Why lock us down? I wish I could speak to maybe some current PM people or some P Plus people, because they probably have that insight. They probably maybe have more, because I know everyone had opposing kind of opinions. Yeah, but I know that was like one of their things was like, don't add future stuff. And I'm not saying that, you know, like I want to preface that 110 times. Like, I'm not saying you add any of this stuff, but what if, like, we're all modding at the end of the day? It's fucking, like, who cares at the end of the day? I'm not saying you take everything, but what if you made your own idea that is inspired? Like, they made Toon Link's be inspired by 64 Link. You know what I mean? That's technically another Smash game. Like, oh, well, I guess I don't, like, if we use that argument, couldn't we use that for, oh, I don't want to play 64 Link because I got 64 Link and P Plus and it's Toon Link. You know what I mean? Like, the argument doesn't, like, I understand why it exists. It's to keep them, like, away from, like, the wrath of Nintendo in that lane, because they're afraid of that. They're afraid of getting sued for that shit. But Nintendo will sue you for making fucking Stadium Frozen, which they already did.
Or for giving online support to your game to begin with.
Making them look bad. Yeah, they don't like you.
Yeah.
Monte, we're fucking cooking, bro. I just want to say, this is, like, everyone in chat, I'm definitely going to make this into a video, because I think about this a lot. Like, I'm not even, like, the best PM guy. I want this to bring some PM discussion. That, like, I have a platform for a fucking reason, bro. I was working at, like a part-time job in college. I was working at GNC, and I was not making videos at the time, and I was thinking about PM all the time. Like, I was, like, I'm not the best, but I was thinking about, like, man, I love Ike's moveset, and I don't even, like, fucking main him. I could talk about why I like it so much. I could talk about, like, what the genius of PM, and, like, and granted, like, I'm looking at this roster, it's very tight-knit. I built the backbone of my fucking channel on just talking about fucking characters. People have been up to me in real life, and they said, I play the game because of you. And I was like, what the fuck? That's like the one time I leave my house. Like, someone went up to me and was like, oh, you da-da-da. Like, I play the game because you made a video about Diddy Kong. And I was like, what? He's like, and I beat him, thank God. I almost lost. I was like, no, I can't lose. But he came up to me. Yeah, he said he thought he picked up Diddy because of me. And I was like, hey, that's what I want. But, like, that's part of why I did this shit, is because, like, there's a fucking genius to PM. It's like a fucking, in my opinion, it's a masterpiece. Some people fucking comment and they're like, it's not a mod, it's not a Smash game, don't treat it like a Smash game. Bro, you don't understand the amount of fucking work that they put into this mod. I consider it a Smash game because it is basically a completely different experience. It is basically a completely different beast. Not many mods do that. That's how high acclaim it is for me. It's like one of my favorite games of all time, and yes, it's a mod. But a lot of mods start out as mods. They just get officially become games, or these games copy them. Yeah, you know what I mean? A lot of these very good mods, they become games, or it's copied in other media. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's always about polish. Back in the day, I could be one of those sticklers where it's like, oh, it's not official, so who cares? But I'm getting up there in years, and, you know, I want to have fun where I know I'm going to have fun.
And there's not a Smash game coming out anytime soon, right? As far as you know.
I mean, it's part of the reason why Rex is doing it, you know, what it's doing right now and so well, is because we're here to, like, keep certain people
laying low because
they're low, basically.
Yeah.
Like, and that's good, because there were some people. This is a little off topic now, but when we revealed Chief the way that we did, so many people complimented the fact that even if the direction wasn't as locked in as like an official reveal would be, we still tried to maintain that spirit on some level with that reveal. Wanted it to still feel special and to feel like an event, which is why I wanted Chief to have his own proper cinematic style trailer. I wanted it to be as close as possible to like getting the real deal. This was that consolation prize that King Bob and them originally were doing with Banjo before Banjo officially got officially announced.
Yes.
Doing the same thing for the people out there that wanted Chief and didn't get him, but still to give him something special that they could sink their teeth into, just to scratch that itch of like, what if this guy had actually made it in the game? And I saw people saying how they not only were they shocked that we did make him real, but that we went to such lengths to make his reveal so special and to treat it like an event in its own right. And I saw one guy make a video earlier on, it was like toward the end of last year, he did like a video covering. He's like, yeah, I know it's a mod, but the way they revealed it, just you could tell how serious they were about how special his inclusion was and how refined everything was. Like they were taking it so seriously, and that's what made it feel as real as it possibly could, despite it not being an official character.
100%.
Like, we wanted that same, like, that thrill, because for one thing, we didn't get him. There were a lot of people, myself included, that wanted it to happen but didn't. So this was a way of like the next best thing. But because of the fact that we aren't seeing Smash Bros stuff right now, we wanted to make his especially as like the front runner, but even any of the other characters, like having Shovel Knight playable or Soul Bad Guy, just giving people that excitement that they do feel when it's like, all right, which character is joining the roster now? It's that same wow factor in a lot of ways when you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, I'm a fan of this franchise. Look, it's now in Smash Bros. Here we go.
Yes.
So yeah, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing until the day comes. Either the next big Smash game comes out and we all put our eyes on that to see what's cooking next officially into the future, or the worst case scenario is like if we do get a little too big and start getting a little too much attention and Nintendo's over here like, nope, can't have that anymore.
Yeah, we've talked about that behind the scenes of like trying to stay away from the wrath of Nintendo. But I've learned as the years going by, like they'll get you for anything. Like I said, they got Ludwig for literally freezing Pokemon Stadium. I've heard they like try to stealth change Melee and not let people know with UCF. Like they try to like just put UCF in there, which those who don't know, it's where they fix dashback, because that was a bug in the game. They like stealth fix bugs that are in the game, but technically that's still modding, even though you're doing it for the goodwill of the game. It's not really changing that much. Like it's just like this kind of gets into Z jumping and like all that shit, but like that's maybe a little bit more of a separate conversation, of course. But Nintendo will get you for fucking anything, is what I'm saying. Like that. Yeah. The idea of avoiding Ultimate stuff or in Smash 4 stuff, I agree with it. You know, because you don't. It's a different can of worms. But if you take it by a case-by-case basis and spin it in your own way, what is so like someone else brought up Roy's jab in Ultimate. They love it a lot more. I would agree. I like Roy's jab. It's a very fucking good animation. I also think his down air is really good anime. Like I've seen mods like even Beyond Melee do that stuff where they gave Roy his ultimate, you know, the rising fucking jab that he has, or the down air that with his fist kind of push down.
We technically have it too with Ultimate Roy as an outload.
Yeah. And it feels better.
Some people say, and I've even seen some people say where it's like, you know, because it has
looks
been brought
better.
up off and on a few times. Yeah, and it's like, you know, if we did decide, because we said before, where it's like, you know, we're running out of room. We can only put so many characters, modded characters, into the game because there's a limit. And we've said before, alternate movesets are essentially another version of that character. It's a slot. A slot's being taken in order for there to be 2 Roys. So. Or 2 any characters, whether it be Zero Suit Samus, you know, it's a separate character taking a slot. Yes. So even though it's like officially you look at our roster where it's like, oh, it looks like there's 120, blah, blah, blah. It's like technically there's like over 140 or whatever with all the alternate movesets, whether it be the ultimate movesets or the busted characters like Giga Bowser, Supersonic, Shadow, blah, blah, blah. Those all take slots too. Right. So if we reach a point where it's like, we're getting too far along and we can't go beyond that limit of 242, then what do you do at that point? You have to start making sacrifices, start cutting redundant slots. Alternate movesets are more redundant than actually having a fully fledged new character at that point.
Yeah.
So if that were to happen and we decide, hey, you know, we're our own thing, we change these base characters around if we want. I've seen some people say that they think it would be cool if there was a mix of PM with the Ultimate Roy and just combine it into one moveset. Take the best of both. It would be cool. Make it, yeah. So you get the best of what PM Roy has to offer with the really best. Cool stuff that he officially got.
Yeah.
And then boom, there's Roy. You don't need one moveset or the other because now you're playing like the Rex version or something.
Right.
And we'd have to take that into account. So it's like same thing would be applied to any character that has an alt moveset like our Zero Suit Samus, because we have the actual like ultimate style one with the rocket boots. Lose the slot, it's like, all right, maybe combine the best of both into this moveset now.
Yeah. So how would you feel, Monte, though, if like, because you obviously have Rex, and that's like you said, it's a different being, but like some of the PM stuff does affect you guys too, like the P+ stuff, like when they changed the tags and stuff like that. And obviously, you know, if it's a balance change, you would port that over, you'd port that data over. But if from a fan perspective, would you want ultimate flavored inspired animations? That, see how I said those words? Flavored, inspired in quotations for certain characters in P+. As a fan.
As long as it fit well in the engine. And not talking like visually, more so just
spiritually.
Moveset balance, fitting the kit, going with the flow of the overall like combat loop that is the PM P+ experience.
Yes.
Because even if you did give Ganon a sword, for example, well, you still want to try to keep that spirit maintained. So in a way, even if you did give him a sword,
he technically still has a sword. It's down taunt.
Yeah.
You just make it a different move.
Actually, like,
similar animation.
The moves that probably, unless it was something that was helping the kit in a way where it felt like it actually was fundamentally going in a direction that helped. Kind of like with Bowser changing out an entire flamethrower neutral B with a fireball.
That was genius. Genius change.
And it worked well.
Yes.
But
I like genius changes. Well. And sometimes you gotta go a little fucking out there to add a genius change. Not everyone likes Thunder Punch on Charizard, but I still think it was worth an attempt, in my opinion. Like, I think somebody has found use for that move, even though people just don't like how it looks, you know? Like, the heart, it was in the right place. It was because Flamethrower got removed for Bowser, so I'm sure they were like, well, why keep this fucking move on Charizard? And well, some people might have had a different argument of, no, I just liked it. It was like, I liked it on Charizard, and I liked Bowser's being gone, but Charizard having it, or whatever. I know some people might comment, and like that might be their argument, you know, for that move. There's a whole, like, I know people would probably write essays on Charizard Thunder Punch, but I feel like sometimes when these characters like needed it, like Bowser and P+, and Kirby even with his down B, like that was a great change, by the way, with changing grounded down B and making it slide, you know, giving even DK, like they had to nerf it, but like his aerial down B that did not exist, that is technically a Smash 4 thing. That I just fucking figured, I forgot about that. His aerial down B, he doesn't have one. He does not have one in Brawl. Right. Let's this is a very important like fucking mic drop moment. That's basically what I'm saying. If you think about it, that move, the aerial down, like I want to fucking show it. This is holy shit. I'm fucking cooking right now. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? He does not have an aerial down B in any game, and I remember the first time they show it, it's in Smash 4. So does that mean, by that logic, they're banned from ever doing that because Smash 4 did it? What's up, Kyle? What's up, my man? What's up, man? I'm cooking right now. Let me show this. It made me
think, actually.
Yeah.
It made me, because, Donkey Kong.
I'm pulling this up right now to show you guys.
He got the aerial down B.
Elite ball knowledge. Yes. This, bro, there's a huge misconception for people coming through that, like, PM can't have this stuff that existed in future Smash games. Of course I load P+, and my controller's not in. That's the honest concept.
Oh no!
That's
Careful,
me.
They're gonna want to play. They're gonna want to play matches.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. I'll wrap, like, this is kind of like the final. I think some of the devs do know what exactly we're talking about, though. Some of the devs, they know exactly what we're talking about. I'm sure it's a case-by-case basis even for them. But what they did to aerial down B for Donkey Kong is exactly what I'm asking for some of these characters. It's exactly what I'm asking for Luigi, maybe his grab. I know some people are like, but like his grab game kind of is shit, and I feel like it would kind of benefit him. Where I don't think it's too drastic of a change. Maybe I'm not a Luigi main, but Luigi's usually lower on the tier list for a lot of people, and like one of the things that people mention is Luigi's grab game is fucking awkward. This is what I'm talking about. Let me load up DK. This move was PM. This was not in P+, sorry. This was not in PM. This is P+.
Yeah.
This down B. But this idea of doing aerial down B did not exist in Brawl, Melee, 64. Not even in the early updates of PM. He couldn't do this in the air. It literally did nothing. If you did this, there was no input. So P+ added this. But guess what game? Smash game did that before them. I can show you because it's in the very fucking first trailer of Smash 4. It's DK doing that. They show he has an aerial down B because a lot of characters had. There was one of the weird things about some of these characters is they had grounded versions of these moves, but they didn't have aerial versions of these moves, and Donkey Kong was one of them. It was really weird. Let me Smash 4. Or actually, you know what? I don't need to show it, but you guys know what I'm fucking talking about. Like Smash 4. Let me just fucking go Donkey Kong on the Smash Wiki. I'm pretty sure it's either Ultimate or Smash 4. He gets that move, and those games did it first before DK officially did that shit. So let me look it up. Fucking down. Okay. It's called fucking hand slap. Give me a sec to look this up. Okay, hand slap. Or you know what? You know what I have? Sorry, let me just do this. Let me do this in real time so I can show it. I have a beautiful game called Smash 4 that I have legally. So if you want to say anything in chat, like if you all have anything to say, go ahead. And you have the floor, Monte, if you want to say anything right now.
I do find it funny that, yeah, because I know you're getting ready to showcase it. But yeah, at Smash 4, that was the first one to be like, all right, DK, you can actually do something with your hands, down air, in the air, instead of just no.
And they also dash attack was, you know, they, like that PM and PM did it first. I always bring that up. But the later Smash games were like, yeah, duh, fucking roll, mate. Do you guys remember that roll was not like he had the ugliest dash attack I've ever seen in Melee and Brawl. It is in 6-4. It's the worst dash attack animation. It just like it's so awkward for Donkey Kong, and I never liked it, and no one liked it. And I get why everyone wanted to change because it's so awkward. And it's just like the better idea is literally right in front of your face. That's the same thing for Ganondorf, in my opinion. It's like the better idea is literally in front of our eyes. Sorry to the Ganondorf like Melee purists, but like not saying you take everything out, but like there are better ideas to fix certain aspects of these characters that, you know, like DK like had very awkward animations that didn't help him, and like he was like beat relentlessly because of his size. And then they're like, oh, really fast dash attack, look at that, now he has a speedier option, and that fucking helped him in PM like instantly, because it was like now he was faster. Now he was like, he could do it, he could slide off platforms too, which was actually really fucking cool. I don't think I think they later did that in other Smash games too, I think. Right? Is platform slide off a thing in Ultimate?
You know,
I think it is.
It was.
I don't know, but even if it isn't, like, it just shows that like the better ideas are literally right in front of our eyes most of the time. Like it's just like there's that stupid rule that kind of blocks us from doing it. Do you guys remember this great game?
There's definitely argument where you could actually go out of your way to incorporate newer features if reworked to better fit that experience. Kind of going back to what I was saying before. If you wanted to give like Ganon some sword moves to, you know, feel more in line with like where he's currently at officially, but still want to make it different, you don't have to have the hitboxes be like, you can make a sword swing but make it work differently.
I was right.
You could make it like,
I just showed it. Yes. So this is what I'm talking about. This was technically okay. So people were just coming through. They're like, "What are you doing?" This move where he does aerial down B, it technically did not exist in any other Smash game at all, and it didn't exist in PM. This little aerial move did absolutely nothing in Brawl, Melee, 64. How are you playing Smash 4? Because I had to show it. Like I had to make sure I got this right, because I got the Luigi Poltergeist wrong, and I felt bad. I was like, damn it. I was like, how did I forget that Luigi's Final Smash is the iconic weird ass dance? I want to. That's the reason why I got it wrong earlier. It's so iconic that it's dog shit, but it's like laughably weird. But I want to make sure I got this correct. He can do aerial down B in the air. And that did not exist in any official Smash game. They did this because it was just like, duh. Every other fucking move is like that. There's an aerial version of it. This is a goofy animation, but you get what I'm saying. Like, PM later did a move that is very inspired from this. PM, P+. So Project M didn't have this idea either until Project Plus, where they added it as a single slap attack. It is inspired from this idea, though. This is the same idea spiritually, so that's what I'm saying with Ganondorf. Maybe make a different version of his. Oh God, do you guys ever fucking go?
You could do a sword up smash, but have it be a two-hitter, like how it's.
Yeah, or maybe it does the same arc, but it's still you coded it yourself. You know what I mean? Like, like you could do these things, in my opinion, because it's a mod. But like, I know some people like, oh, but that's look at this god awful Ganondorf, fucking my favorite. He's my favorite character ever. I used to have like a mod where I could zoom into his face, but like just this ugly, just slow, like that's what I mean. Like, just if he wasn't in, this moveset would be completely different if he had the Brawl, if he was made in Brawl. And I know some people wish like he had custom moves. Sure, why not? You could fucking do whatever you want. technically. But I understand that some people are like, well, that's, you know, I like Ganon, like, da-da-da. I get that argument, but, like, also at the same time, some of these characters in P Plus are heavily changed. Lucas, Snake, whatever. So it's case by case, but I say sprinkle it here and there. That's my 2 cents. Sprinkle it like a little shower. One of the things for Pikachu I want to show, and then I'll play some matches, and I've this has been like the coolest fucking talk. Like I've talked with Monte like a little bit off stream, like a little like here and there. We've kind of dabbled in this, and also I've thought about this. Like this has been something that's always been like my mind, where I was like, man, why don't we just like, not saying to open the floodgates completely and just be like, now it's Ultimate, but with like, I'm not saying that, but like, fix a couple of these things, you know? Smash 4 content? Do you see how I closed out of that game so fast, Applewind? I was like, I'm done with this game. I don't want to look at it anymore. Let me pull up Ultimate. Yeah, let me pull up Ultimate, because I want to show some of the Pikachu things that I'm like, I wish Pikachu kind of had, like, I would like Pikachu a lot more in PM if he had some of these things. Again, this is my world. I'm like, not everyone's going to agree with me. I know the Pikachu mains might be like, well, I don't know, but I'm just saying like a couple things. You sprinkle a couple ideas that are like spiritually, maybe they represent future Smash game ideas, but they're made with the P plus soul, if that makes sense.
Mostly because when I do play PM P plus, I mostly do stick to playing Samus.
Yeah, I know that's your man, right? And that's what I knew you were gonna have a good outlook on this.
And due to that, I've already pretty much got myself adjusted to like what's currently going on there, in a way where it's like I haven't really thought too far beyond what's already established, because some of those elements that they did incorporate with like the ice mode is kind of scratching that itch, checking off the boxes of like what I'd want out of her kit.
Yes.
In the sense of like, because I've talked about it a little bit before, ice mode, forward air
is basically what we're kind of asking for in some ways. I said forward air being stronger. Ice mode is kind of like that.
Yeah, ice mode giving you an up smash that also kills. You know, it swaps out the more janky, fiery effects of those hitboxes and gives you more actual kill moves instead of, you know, what you're stuck with by default. Because Ultimate, those moves do kill. Forward air in Ultimate will kill. Up smash in Ultimate will do the same. So ice mode does those things for me, basically. I can take stocks by either using a forward air or an up smash that I could not do before because of how funky the fire effects are in those older games with how the hitboxes work. You can't quite make that proper drag-in style hitbox the way you can in the newer engines.
Yes. 100%.
So that was their fix to allow you to still do damage without, you know, because you do get multi-hit damage out of the forward air and the up smash by default, but they're not kill moves. So it's giving it ice mode where it's just a solid, here's the hitbox that does what it needs to do. Now they're kill moves. So I got what I need out of Samus. I got the charging in midair, like the newer games. Like the kit is doing what I need it to for me to be at my potential. Right. When I'm facing other people. As far as the broader roster goes, though, I'd have to kind of like dive back in and go through and be like, all right, who's got something I feel they could greatly benefit from.
Yeah.
In order to really like refine them or to push them a little further to tap into even further potential.
I think some people like would bring up Mario too with it. Yeah, like we brought up the down B. Let me get this loaded up on. I think I have it now. Yay! Yay! It's my favorite version of Sonic, right, guys? No.
Oh no.
Pikachu is like kind of like where I feel like Pikachu's played a lot more in this game than like other Smash games, and I feel like it's just because, you know, obviously 64 Pikachu exists, and obviously like they were trying to like a lot of melee Pikachu as well as in P plus and Brawl. it's like kind of like Yoshi, where it's a mixture of all three, but I don't know if it's like necessarily the best version of the character. It's kind of like a jack of all trades. It'd be cool if Pikachu and P Plus had like a spike, you know, or a meteor, and maybe not spike, but you know what I mean, like where it's like it can actually be effective off stage, where he's like dangerous. I think that would be cool. Maybe even Thunder having a lot more knockback. Like they did go that way in Smash 4. It's pretty bad. Thunder's actually kind of dog shit. I'm not even gonna lie. Even in P+, like, Thunder is kind of dog shit. You know, I don't know if you give him, like, change up his throws. He's pretty much the thing with Pikachu is he has really bad grab range. Like, grab range is horrible, and even he makes a goofy face when he, like, grabs. Because I think naturally, like, even they know, like, it's not... like his grab game can be comparable, but the grab itself, because he's so stubby, is not the best. You know what I mean? Like a character with better range is gonna have a better grab, and grabs also suck in Ultimate. But I know Fair as well. People have said they like later Smash game Fair because look how disjointed it is. It's like very effective. Like look how like much knockback it's dealing. This would not be this effective in any of the previous Smash games. The later hits are really effective. Let me bring up your main, Samus.
Oh boy.
We brought up Samus. Dark Samus is the same thing, but it's another thing, man. Is just like it's crazy because like these are 64 characters that kind of become a little bit more aggressive as time goes on, and they actually get like changes that I think these are like the actual better versions of some of these characters, like competitively at least. Like forward air, the late hit having a meaty hitbox, as you guys saw right there. Like that is a later Smash game thing where like that move was never doing that in Melee. Like that's
they never had that much knockback.
Oh yeah,
had that much like it wasn't a kill move.
Up smash is also crazy in this game. Up smash like I mean it's so much better. Like up smash is like you would very likely fall out of the hits in Melee. Especially I think Brawl too, like, but I know Melee it was like really like what the fuck, like it was like weird. Even this Samus does not have this down air. And I mean she sort of does. Like a lot of her moves are like just more effective. They have more range in this game, and they're not as laggy. They're not, you know, she's still like a laggy kind of character, but her moves are faster.
Are
like
still,
the move,
their league's better than what they used to be.
Which is kind of what PM was doing, you know, with some of their characters. Like that was what the PM design philosophy is. So I feel like they did that with Samus, big time. Like dash attack will probably kill it as percent. Oh, just about. Like I bet if I was closer to the ledge, it definitely kills. Like that. That's what I mean. Like it would be crazy. I'm not saying, like, Samus, again, I'm sure people bring up, like, Samus is supposed to be a tank, because that's what she is in Melee. Definitely is a tank character. Peach is also supposed to be a tank character. I think that's a valid argument. Like, these versions of these characters are, like, you know, even fucking Peach is, like, a completely different beast in this game. That's kind of why I didn't want to, like, I don't know how to really go with Peach, you know, because she's, like, this is like combo character. This is like combo. Like let me fucking study the game combos for like Peach is not a combo character in Melee. I can say that because I main her in Melee. Where in this game you're using turnip, you're doing combos out of it, and you do that in Melee. But in this game it is like completely different. Like fair kills. Like she's not a tank. She's like more of a glass cannon, I guess you could say. Like I think that's a better way to describe her. It's like radically kind of different versions of Peach, but PM technically like did that with some of their characters, where like they were balanced in this way where they became more of a glass cannon. Mewtwo is the perfect example of that, you know, because I think Mewtwo would have been a glass cannon in Melee if he was designed a little bit more effectively and wasn't as weird, but they did that. They did it, like Ultimate ended up doing it with some different characters like Peach and Pikachu, you know, even Samus, but PM kind of was a little bit more faithful to like the older versions, but it's a case by case basis. Not every character is faithful to their older versions, so
yeah.
I think
It's fascinating.
That's the fucking topic. I'll mic drop that shit right there because I said I would play with people. But I'll make that into a fucking video. That literally, like, oh my gosh, like that. So people were saying I've never spoke about PM that deeply. I'm like, bruh, you gotta think about PM, man.
It's like it's always there.